President Biden was here last night for a fundraiser. He's so annoying. He continues to shut down all the traffic around every place I live. And he decided to use the CF word for the first time at this meeting, apparently saying, it's not on camera, otherwise I'd play it for you. But here's what he said at this fundraiser. For the first time in American history, a former president that is a convicted felon is now seeking the office of the presidency. But as disturbing as that is, more damaging is the all-out assault Donald Trump is making on the American system of justice. And then I'll get to the third part in a minute. But so this is interesting to me. So he's dropping the CF word, right? Convicted felon, and continuing what we've heard from the Democrats in the wake of the verdict. You have to like it. You will accept it and you will like it. And if you
Suddenly
criticize
they love
it,
the rule of law. It's incredible.
Right? If you criticize it, you are doing an all-out assault on the system of justice.
Well, irony is dead. I guess that would be the bumper sticker on this one. First off, you had an incredible interaction with Dan Abrams about all the flaws in the prosecution and the way they treated the defense and everything else. And Donald Trump, for all the bravado and everything else, everyone knows this would not have happened if he was not running for president. The idea that it's a hush money payment that maybe got miscategorized, that somehow makes it related to election interference, it's all a complete farce. But the thing is, do you think he's going to end up in jail?
No.
So I do, actually.
Oh, God.
I think that the system has shown consistently it will do whatever it has to do to stop him. And now with 34, with all 34, when they're not indictments, they're 34 convictions.
Yeah.
With all 34 convictions going up, how can the judge suddenly be like, when this comes to July 11th, how can the judge be like, you know what, I thought about it, we've had time to think about it, and actually we're just going to, give him probation or a fine. I think the judge...
He's not a prior offender. And because while the judge has issued jail time on these offenses before, it was when the falsification of business records was to cover up like a real crime, a dark, serious felony, not this bullshit.
So I'm not saying it's legit in any way. I just think the entropy of the way everything is going lends itself to Trump ending up in jail because of this, because the judge will be like, oh.
Can't rule it out.
Yeah, and the other problem is, I know you know this, that on the appeal side, there are 5 black female Supreme Court justices in New York. They wanted diversity, and they actually got the least diverse thing. Now, I know, of course, that your skin color and gender...
The Supreme Court is the lowest court in New York. Court of Appeals is the highest court.
Wait, so the Supreme...
There's not 5 female...
Oh, so it's not going to the New York Supreme...
No,
nice
I know New York is a wacky...
Oh, okay.
New York has a weird name for its courts. Supreme Court is the lowest court, is the trial court.
So that's not the appeals court?
No.
Well, that's refreshing.
It'll go up to the appellate division first department.
I like being corrected on air, by the way. That's actually very refreshing.
It's good news.
Yeah.
And then it'll go up to the Court of Appeals.
So it goes to them first.
First, it'll go to the appellate division, first department,
right,
which is the area that he was tried in, like Manhattan. And then it'll go up to the Court of Appeals, which is our highest court. I know. I don't know why they call the Court of Appeals the highest court.
Interesting.
Here,
All right. Well, at least I had a
But anyway, I mean,
had
look,
a legit error. Okay.
His judicial prospects remain bleak. Yeah. That's true, unless and until it gets to SCOTUS, where he actually does have more than a fair shot at getting all of this nonsense reversed.
Isn't it just incredible, though, if you just look at the fundraising numbers, it sounds like he's gotten about $100 million since this thing, and you look at the polling numbers, I don't know do you know one person that post this decision is like, you know what, I'm not voting for Trump, or is scared by the convicted felon thing? I suppose they exist.
You mean who was going to vote for him before?
Yeah, and suddenly, no, but the people that were kind of on the fence that I know, these guys that I play basketball with, who were all just kind of like moderate, whatever, they're all about Trump now.
Yeah, and not only that, but I know Republican donors who are like, on Trump, who just opened up their wallets to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pissed. It's a Kavanaugh-esque moment.
As a republic, we cannot survive if you are going to jail political candidates. Even if you think that this is the most horrific thing that Donald Trump did by paying off the porn star and somehow it had something to do with campaign finance, even if you believe that, it is still not good. To me, you'd have to let him out either way, because if you think that at the end, if Donald Trump is either taken off the ticket or jailed or whatever they could do to him, if you think that will make America better at the end of this, that somehow that the average person will be like, oh, that did really work, and now we've got dementia guy again and everything's fine. No, it will make it all so much worse.
It better. I mean, that's what I've been saying for a couple of days now, is that we must make it worse. Now we're on this train. There's no getting off of it until the train goes, smash into the side of the mountain.
That's why I'm saying.
And then we can restart.
But that's why I'm saying he ends up in jail in a weird way. Because the energy is just like, yes, they will do everything possible.
Yeah, only Republicans and normies have been like, no, we shouldn't do that. No, this is wrong. And that's why it's like now we're at the point of no return. Fine, it's on. We tried to be in denial about your plans and who you were and, our love of country. The gloves are off, the mask is off, and now it's on. It's UFC. I'm sorry because it's the United States of America, but this is the only way to save it. And then we'll get back to normal. But we're not getting back to normal by keeping our hands clean.
Isn't that interesting? It sort of feels like we needed to go through this in a weird way. We've been in this slow descent to hell for a long time. And now the mask is coming off. I was a big DeSantis guy during the primary. But in retrospect now, I do feel, well, first off, I'm very happy that he's my governor again, because I think the states have a lot more, should have and do have a lot more to do with your life on a day-to-day basis than. So I'm very happy he's back. And as a Floridian, I'm very happy he's back. But in another way, now seeing everything they're doing to Trump, it's like he is the only one that could fight this thing. He may not win this fight, and then it will be very bad for all of us. But we needed to get to this moment. And again, we will see, because if they put him in jail, then
one of the things we need to do either way, I don't care who wins, is we need to shrink the executive.
Yes, absolutely.
Like cases like Chevron deference at the Supreme Court, which is trying to decide how much power those agencies around the president actually have versus Congress, the lawmakers who actually do answer to us. I know Congress is not great, but at least they answer to us. We can kick them out after 2 years in the House and 6 in the Senate. We have given the executive far too much power. That was never the vision of the founders. And we never wanted a king, and they're getting a little king-like. I'm sick of it. And if Trump wins, one good thing will be the left will agree with me that we need to shrink the powers of the presidency.
Right.
And maybe we'll do something. I want to show you, we have James Comey, who was asked, I love that we go to this guy like he's this objective
he's
pundit,
so subjective.
Right? Like, sure, give me your point of view on whether Trump could go to jail. Like, how would they do it? So this is one of the questions everybody is wondering. And here's what he said. Look at SOT 2.
Do you agree with that it would be difficult or nearly impossible for the law enforcement institutions to put him in actual jail?
No, they would just put him in a double wide somewhere out near the fence, out in the grass. And he would eat there, he'd shower there, he'd exercise there, he'd be away, as Danya Perry said, from general population, but it's obviously doable.
So he will basically be put in solitary confinement for writing legal expenses instead of hush money payment for what, 4 years? Was that what James Comey would like? Honestly, that's where we put our most violent felons. Not that Trump wants to rub elbows, I'm sure, with a lot of the people he would be at Rikers with.
Although they probably like Trump.
But this is the problem in trying to put a former president behind bars.
It's just patently absurd. But again, you can see the way they're seeding the ground, or they're seeding the fertilizer, basically, to put him in jail. They're already discussing what kind of cell he would be in.
The double wide.
Yeah.
Luxury.
And where it will be, where the location will be, and what he will eat, and how he'll get his hair cut. And they'll tell you all of the things. And does any of this, that's what I'm always curious about, particularly with MSNBC, which has just become absolute pure state propaganda at this point. Do these guys realize what they are doing to the country? I don't know. Look, you worked with a lot of these types of people.
No.
Do they have any sense of what they are unleashing?
They think they're saving it. I can tell you personally that
everyone thinks they're the good guy.
Many people over at that place, and I didn't really spend that much time with MSNBCers, but I know a couple who really believe that your character is defined by whether you are for or against Trump. And they really think kind of like Sam Harris, that the ends justify the means. Forgive me, Sam, that's short forming those controversial remarks, but you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. That he must be stopped, and that this is nothing. And you've heard them. You've heard, was it David Frum, who was out there saying, look, this isn't the best crime to get him on, but we needed to get him on something. Mm-hmm. He's been gotten. Yeah. That's the important thing.
It's such a terrible
He's done so many things he's gotten away with. No one's going to cry any tears for this.
It's such a sad failure of what I would say many of the old school liberals used to believe. Because, Frum, I guess he's somewhat of a conservative or something like that, but the Sams of the world, that whole crew, it's such a damn shame, because it does not matter if you're left or right, or if you're Republican, Democrat, or anything else. Like, if you just look at what's going on in the country, was immigration better or worse under Trump? It was obviously better. Was the economy better or worse under Trump? You have to factor COVID in, but pre-COVID, it was way better. Internationally, were things better or worse under Trump? Way better. We had peace in the Middle East and there were more deals on the way.
We didn't have a Ukraine war either.
We didn't have a Ukraine war. We didn't have all of the psychotic wokeness in schools. It was bubbling up, obviously. But the point is, if you just went through the laundry list that liberals are supposed to care about, true liberals, or any just moderate, sane person, everything was better under Trump, which is why people like us have begrudgingly, I would say, come to this side of the equation. I would never think that I'd be here, but I do care about truth.
Right. I'm not like, I'm not part of Trump's cult. You know what I mean? As they say, or like, I'm not under his spell. That's what I want to say. I'm not part of his Trump. But I support the guy because I support what he did to the country. Right? It's not my own personal grievances with Trump. That's not what makes me pull the lever or not.
And you could, by the way, you could have grievances. You would have legit grievances.
Yes,
I mean, he's gone after you.
Sure. I mean, I could. But why would I do that to my country and myself? I count myself in the people who would benefit from a Trump presidency. My children. I care much more about them than I do about, he was not nice to me, and after I asked him tough questions. That's all bullshit. That's why people are like, why? How could you vote for Trump? They feel betrayed. It's like, because I care about the country. But I also I'm not so threatened by a Joe Biden second term, and I am threatened by it, that I would breach like crazy ass norms. All the stuff I'm suggesting we do in lawfare, like the tit for tat, isn't because I'm so fearful of a Joe Biden presidency's second term. It's because they're corrupting our justice system, and the only way to right the ship now that they've kicked it on its side is to kick it the other way so we can wind up straight up again. Have you seen the garbage they're pushing in some public schools? Leftist propaganda, gender bending, race baiting, DEI indoctrination. What happened to real education? Parents, listen up. Many teachers are coming from leftist universities where they're taught by Marxist professors who want to indoctrinate our children. But I want to tell you about Freedom Project Academy, or FPA. FPA offers online learning with live, on-demand, and homeschool courses for students K through 12. Freedom Project Academy was built on Judeo-Christian values and classical curriculum. Students read books, they write in cursive, they study the full scope of history, the way it used to be. Right now, save 10% on tuition when you enroll at freedom4school.com. That's freedom4, F-O-R, school.com. You can check out their fully accredited courses, teachers, and request a free information packet. We can't afford to hand over another generation to the left. Take back your child's education at Freedom Project Academy. Freedom4school.com. That's freedom4school.com. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.